Hello.
No.
Hello.
Hello. Now it's working.
Now works. Perfect.
Yeah.
Maria, the only thing I don't have is 3 questions, so I can start posting them so that I can get
Oh,
just
true.
to. Can you send it to me in the chat here, just to me?
Okay, let me see if I can take it to you, region. Okay, perfect. My 3 questions. Where do I have them? I have it somewhere here. I have it in my notes. Let me take out it from my notes. Say, my God, where did I put them?
Okay, so let me share my screen. And while you look at that, I have an introduction in the Zoom.
I will come with the notes. My computer has been terrible today. How it's crashing so many times.
So this is what I have. Let me move this. Okay. This is what I have. I'll introduce you
Mm-hmm.
to the agenda, then a little bit of me. Then I will read your bio. I'll
Okay.
also his bio, and then I'll tell them to keep an eye for the December latinXfactor, and then I'll stop right here. I'll stop sharing, and then you two take it away. No, yeah, here, so, the chat, so I can see when I'm seeing that. Okay, we're good. Is Ramboll coming to convention, Maria?
Huh?
Ramboll coming to convention?
Which convention?
Our convention, sure. It's next.
Ah, I don't know. No idea.
Okay.
Where is it?
In Anaheim, California.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. But probably has to be somebody that is in United States. I'm a little too far away for it. I really hope that I don't have to restart my computer to open this. I will write it in my notepad because it's not opening. We'll write it again. I'm writing it now because I couldn't open it.
Oh, beautiful.
So path of the chemical environment. Now I have it here. Say to you, what's this trick question? How important am I to go to renewable energy but after chemical? How everyday environment is involved in every project that I do as I consider renewable energy about it to certain it, but how do you go beyond this question? And that was my trick question. I think
Perfect.
Israel also have some question. He was I was talking to him today, and he was saying that he was really wanted to talk about when also when his college days.
Ah,
So that will be really interesting. So I say we both should talk a little about our careers, but also I think it's important to talk about how environment is in in the consultancy company that is our Ramboll. So it was
yeah.
a little related to both of them.
If, if
Hi,
there's a,
Israeli here.
hey, Israel, also if it's a requirement that you must have a degree in environmental engineering to do environmental engineering, which I don't think is the case. But
No. Do you hear us, Israel?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hey.
Sorry, were you just, did you ask a question and audio just kicked in?
Maria sent me the 3 questions, but she was saying that you have a question about how you got into this field or when you were an undergrad or something of the sort.
Yeah, I think just a general sort of background history on what we do and how we got to doing what we're doing is sort of what we talked about, but happy to go in any direction conversation takes you. So super
Well,
flexible.
these are the slides that I have. I will do an introduction of both Maria and you. And then I will stop right here. I stop sharing and then you take it away.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it would be like we talk about. I think it would be good to talk first how environment is related to our career. Well, after we go and go into what is also in related to consultancy. I think with that two part, I think it would be really good to go on the conversation like that.
Agreed.
Hmm?
Awesome.
About how many people did you say joined this?
32.
32? Excellent.
32 people have registered. We send enough reminders and things, so.
Cool.
Gail is here, so let me get him in. Hi, Gail.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Gail.
Hello.
Hello.
Maria, how are you doing?
Good, good, good. Everything good.
I know it's very late for you, so thank you.
I don't worry. This one was better. I think the other one started at one in the morning. So
Oh, yeah.
Did you recover from your from your long
yes.
night?
Yeah, I also started the next day a little later, so it's okay to start
Are you,
maybe like hmm?
are you,
What hour is here?
no, where are you?
Ah, where are you? I am in Sweden.
That's what I thought, yes.
Mm.
I visited, it was so much fun.
Yeah, right now it's beautiful with the colors of
Mm.
the fall. And it's not that cold. It's like 15 degrees, so it was
Nice.
yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
just because you say it's not cold doesn't mean it's not cold.
I am becoming a Nordic person, so 15 degrees is not cold anymore.
Yeah, really having a really nice fall here too, and we got to about 24 degrees today, so
Wow.
it got hot.
Where are you, Israel?
In Syracuse in
Ah,
New York, upstate New York. Yeah.
yeah. I know where that is too. I
Nice.
visited the university where that was.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll wait for the people to arrive. If you need water, now's the time to get some water or buy a break or whatever you need.
Maybe that is good. I will take some water.
Yeah. And then at 6, I'll open the room.
Sounds good.
These are the slides that I'm gonna show. Can you see them, Gail?
Yes. Yes, thank you. It looks great.
I'm excited for this. Thank you, guys.
Is it also a lot of international people that does this?
I'm sorry?
There is also a lot of international people that also join
No,
these
not
talks.
necessarily, no. If you count Puerto Rico as international, which I don't.
I'm actually going to Puerto Rico in November, so
Oh, you're going?
yes.
Oh, you have to talk to me. I'll tell you all the places to go. I'm born and raised.
Yes. Oh, nice. Oh, it's beautiful. Puerto Rico is my second time.
The
Yeah.
people I've worked for. Not me, the other Puerto Rican people. Okay, so now we wait and wait for people to join us. Demi Gonzalez, is she one of your group, Gail, or participant?
Gonzalez, you said? I think that's a participant.
Oh, okay. Good. Send the message, the waiting room.
I finally built the thing that I got, but I got it exactly one day after the other activity that we have that was for building.
Oh, you mean the last one? The
Yeah.
science night?
The science night. I got it exactly one day after.
Yeah.
How cute.
Little Chihuahua, she's very mommy attached. No, come on. What can I say?
My golden is not mommy attached. She always needs a treat to come.
£4 worth of a little dog. Okay, 5:54. We'll probably start the program like at 6:05 to allow latecomers to come into the room. If that's okay with you guys.
Sure. I'll probably turn my camera off since I'm not one of the presenters.
Five minutes to begin, only one person in the room. In the waiting room.
That sounds familiar. I taught undergrads for a good 7 years there, and it was, yeah, last minute, especially during Zoom days, right? It was last minute and pops up everybody.
Absolutely.
Hi, Gail. I finally picked up my hat from from printing.
Nancy mentioned it. I was going to stop by on Wednesday to take a look. She
Sounds
said
good.
the logo's a little small, so I'll take a
Yeah.
look.
Oh, it came out great, but appreciate you putting the work in on that. I know it was a big
Oh.
ordeal to get a hat.
No problem.
You're not presenting anything, right? No slides or anything good. So because I needed to make you co-hosts if you were going to do something. People in the waiting room. Minutes. Can you hear me okay, or do I need better?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay,
You sound fine.
awesome, thank you. Okay, letting everybody in. Welcome, everyone. We are going to begin our programming at 6:05, just to allow the latecomers to join us before the event begins. So if you need to take a bio break or get some water, now is the time to do so. You have time. Thank you. Hello, we will start our programming at 6:05 to allow latecomers to join us without missing any content at all. So if you need to take a bio break or get some water, now is the time to do so. You have time. Sorry, I have two chihuahuas. They hear a dog barking in the background. They start barking as well. So my most sincere apologies. Hear them. Because it is what it is. Hello, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us. We will begin at 6:05 to allow latecomers to join us without any of the content. So if you need to take a bio break or get some water, now's the time. Thank you. Okay, 6:02 will begin at 6:05 to allow latecomers to join us without missing any of the content. So if you need to take a bio break or need to get some water, please go ahead and do so. Thank you. Hello, welcome everyone. We will begin our programming at 6:05 to allow latecomers to join us without missing any of the content. So please, if you need to get some water or need a bio break, please go ahead and do so now. You still have time.
Hey, when you put a little bag there?
Okay, 1 minute before we start, if you need to get some water, now's the time to do so. We are about to begin our programming. Okay, 6:05. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Ramboll, for this talk that you're going to present today. We will be talking about environmental engineering, and Ramboll is a company presenting this content. I will do the sub-speaker introductions, tell you about any SHIP upcoming events, and maybe you all know that our big event is next week. We will have this conversation with Ramboll. There will be no presentation. This is intended to be a true conversation. Ask your questions, put them in the chat, or unmute yourselves. There will be an evaluation of the event that I will post the link. Please tell us how we did so I can give some feedback to Ramboll. And I believe that the Q&A will happen throughout the entire conversation. So if you don't know me, my name is Ana Rodriguez. I am currently responsible for the content of most of our events under the Research and Impact Office. I have a doctorate degree in organizational development and training from the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. I've been working at SHIP. Well, this is outdated, but last September, it was 6 years being here at SHIP. I love to cook, I love to ride my bike, and I love to see our members at our national convention. Let's talk about the Ramboll representatives today. We have Maria Campello. Maria Campello has always been fascinated by chemistry and wanting to understand how to engineer the principles on a large scale. Originally from Venezuela, Maria studied chemical engineering before moving to Europe to pursue her master's degree. The early years of her career brought her to 3 different countries, all with their own native languages. She worked as a process engineer and a project manager in big factories, where the focus is generally energy from biosource, such as in the paper and pulp industry. At Ramboll, Maria is currently working on projects related to biogas, biofuels, and e-fuels. Thank you and welcome, Maria. We also have from Ramboll, Israel del Toro. Dr. del Toro is enthusiastic about biodiversity conservation and natural resource management. He has 15 years of experience in applied urban ecology, ecological statistics, and conservation ecology. Israel is currently working on offshore wind projects, nature-based solutions, and biodiversity protection and uplift. He's passionate about sustainability and self-sufficiency and has a small homestead on the outskirts of Syracuse, New York, where he keeps chickens and bees, grows organic produce, and finds creative solutions for living a balanced life with nature. I want to welcome both Israelis upstate New York and Maria is coming to us from wonderful, beautiful Sweden. So she is a little bit early this morning. So for all of you, please do know that we have our big convention next week. I hope I can see all of you or some of you there. And please keep an eye on the December latinXfactor. We have not identified the company, but that is coming soon. Without further ado, now I leave you with Maria and Israel del Toro, Maria Campello and Israel del Toro from Ramboll. Enjoy this conversation.
Hi, folks. Good to see everybody. We didn't really discuss an order of things. So, Maria, you want to kick it off, or how do you want to do this?
Hi, hello. Yeah, I can kick it off. It's okay. That's an amazing presentation that Anna did. I am currently right now in Sweden, but I'm working in the same company as Israel Ramboll, but Ramboll is international, so we have offices in several parts of the world. So one of them is here in Sweden. I have been always really passionate of environment, and I think that pushed me to actually begin my career in. I am mostly related working to renewable energies, as Anna said. So biofuels, e-fuels, biogas, all of this. But I think I would like to start like why environment actually put me in the pathway that I am right now, and why that take me to where I am right now, actually in the world, from Venezuela to Europe. So as the introduction say, I'm chemical engineer from Venezuela. And if you don't know, in Venezuela, normally the pathway to go after you graduate is to work probably in something related to petroleum. And that was not the pathway that I wanted to go. I wanted to actually work with something that was more kind to the environment. And I that gave me the opportunity to actually go to something that is totally related to renewable energies. And in there, we actually took a lot of this environment background in every project that we have, in every pathway that you had to choose, because you can choose, if you know, renewable energies can be anything from wind to solar to biofuels. So that was a little my beginning. But you can also start, Israel. How do
Yeah,
you
sure.
went into your pathway?
Yeah. Hi, folks. Israel del Toro. I don't know. I guess my path is a little bit different. I grew up in West Texas in the city of El Paso, where my family immigrated from northern Mexico, the northern Mexico state of Durango, to El Paso in the 1980s. And my family worked all sorts of odd jobs, as many migrant families do, from home cleanings and church cleaning to agriculture and picking things like hatch chiles and pecans and good stuff like that. So I guess you can sort of say that my family has always been invested in the agricultural side of things and sort of getting our hands dirty and working with our hands and really getting out into the field and getting that experience. So when I started my undergrad at UTEP, I started as a biology major. And because of family pressures, all biology majors, you guys are scheduled to be doctors, right? Supposed to be medical doctors. And that's sort of what you go to college for. But I didn't want to do that. And so when I told my family that I wanted to be an ecologist instead and find ways to protect biodiversity and conserve natural ecosystems, everybody was really, luckily, everybody was really supportive. So I finished my undergrad at Texas at El Paso, and then went on to do my master's and PhD over in Massachusetts. So I wonder if Anna and I overlapped while at UMass Amherst. I don't know. I was there from 2009 to 2014. No, sorry, you're muted.
I'm much older than you are, and
Oh,
I went there when Christopher Columbus dropped me
okay.
off.
So yeah, I did my master's in natural resource conservation at UMass Amherst, and then I went on to do my PhD in a joint PhD program between UMass and Harvard University in organism and evolutionary biology. So that's all to say that I'm not an engineer. I'm an environmental scientist for sure. But definitely keen on working with. I work with engineers every single day. We work together to find really cool, creative solutions to natural ecosystem problems or situations where we can be useful. So that's sort of my education path. What else did I want to say there? I'll jump ahead just a tiny bit here and say that like from there, the other thing that I really loved in undergrad was traveling. Just wanted to really see the world like Maria. And so I've had the privilege to really work in all 7 continents, anywhere from Antarctica to Africa. I've gone out there and got soil on my boots and worked with all fun sorts of critters and worked in really cool landscapes. And being an ecologist and being an environmental scientist really offered me that opportunity, especially in my 20s and early 30s. So that's where I am now. And yeah, questions, Maria? And I don't know.
I can also continue to that I think it's a really good point that where you say that it's really good to actually travel and know people, know how people work, how people are collaborating, but also how many new ideas are coming in the world. I mean, we all the time are hearing new ideas, new technologies, new pathways to solve problems at work, but also when in the university, I went out from Venezuela and went to Europe and got this cool master that was actually a double degree. So I need to travel in between the universities. So I started in Spain and after I went to Sweden. But it was so good to actually hear all the things that are being developed, and you get a lot of that when you are around in the university, and you can see a lot of people that actually have really good ideas and even start their startups when they are doing the master or their degree, because they have an idea that can be really, really good. And I think that is also something that I would like to push to everybody. If you have an idea, don't think it's not going to go there. A lot of people even pivot in their ideas when they have an idea, and maybe you will be the next amazing startup.
Yeah.
In my master, a lot of startups started from students, and now they are funding millions for their ideas, and all in renewable energies.
No, that's an excellent point in the perspective of generating ideas. There's nothing better that to get outside of your comfort zone, right? And so for me, my comfort zone growing up was El Paso, but then the second you start expanding your globe a little bit and expanding your footprint a little bit, you start to recognize the amazing ideas and more importantly, the amazing collaborations that are out there, right? Just because you're an engineer and maybe you don't know an ecologist, this is where, you know, fruitful relationships happen, is when you go from university to university or work with colleagues from a different part of the world. So in doing field work and then living in different countries, you know, I first came across Ramboll actually when I lived in Copenhagen. So I lived in Copenhagen for about a year and a half, no, almost 2 years, just before moving back to the US. And that's where I first heard of this like funny sounding company. They're based out of Denmark and they did a lot of the environmental consulting work in Denmark and in Copenhagen. So their name was kind of plastered everywhere. And I never really saw myself working for a company like this, a consulting company. I guess I'd never really understood what consultants do until just a couple of years ago. So just kind of wanted to offer that perspective as well. You know, what do we do for a job? What do people pay us to do, right? And let's see, where do I start with that? The cool thing about consulting is that you're working on a variety of projects all the time. So if you're somebody that likes to multitask and has, you know, different varied interests, and for me, the more important part is the applied part of things. So I don't want to just stay theoretical or in the textbooks, but I actually want to go do something in the field or implement solutions for companies. This is where consulting gets real, right? And this is where we really get a chance to offer the best scientific advice, to provide solutions for companies, for state agencies. My clients are anywhere from private wind farm companies to state agencies like the New York Department of Environmental Conservation, all the way to federal agencies like the EPA or the USDA. These are just varied clients and very, very different projects that I work on. So that's why I thought consulting was a cool fit for me. It just felt like a way to do a lot and do meaningful work that, you know, that really resonated with me. Why'd
Yeah,
you
and
choose consulting, Maria?
yeah, I think that is a difficult part to actually how to describe consultancy. But I can see the difference because I started in the process industry, and I have worked with I work a part of my life also. I work a little with the startups, renewable startups. But after I went to industry, and I was really in these factories, big factories, trying to do process engineer, but trying to actually map energy and make this industry more effective, use the energy in a better way. Also in the water treatment plants, if they are not using rejects or products, how to make it to use it for another thing. So it was really also hands-on in there. But I really like when I changed to consultancy that you could do this with a lot of companies. And they are coming to you and asking to you exactly what I need to do. So you really has a specific scope every time that you're working, because it's a client that comes to you. I really need to you to help me with this project, and you can actually work with several clients at the same time that could be in any part in the world, because working with. I'm working right now, for example, a project in Sweden, a project in Norway, a project in Finland, a project also in Asia. So it can be any part in the world, and it's really good that you can also work with a lot of people. And I think
You can spend 5 minutes with George.
uh, yes.
You
If
know what?
somebody have a question right now, you can let me know.
Hey, why did Tim do that? Who's it?
Hector, can you mute yourself?
Okay.
Good.
Israel, yeah, I think you're muted.
Sorry about that. Classic. No, I just wanted to say, like, please feel free to stop us along the way and
Yeah.
ask questions, or I'll challenge you guys to drop questions in the chat. You know, sometimes it's a little intimidating to come on screen. So please use the chat, ask your questions, and
Yeah.
help us get this discussion. We're here as resources, y'all.
Yeah. I would think.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was thinking like I would like to also mention that Ramboll is a really is a really nice company when you are really interested in environment, because their core focus are related to sustainability. I mean, they are working all the time actually to get that. And if you see what they are working with decarbonizing. They are working with societies, like Israel said, in making a society sustainable, with people in architecture that do some maintain architecture that are really for sustainability. They also do a lot of circularity. So if you actually want to recycle materials, what I was saying about what if you're talking about an industry, what rejects that you're not using for anything, or maybe burning, you can use materials or do it again in the process and all of this. And also what Israel is doing, biodiversity and ecosystem, that is always a really big part when you are having, for example, like you say, a wind park or something related with the wind energy, all the ecosystem related to where you're putting this park, but also any project that you are going to.
Yeah, no, you know, I think consulting offers really interesting opportunities, right? To really get into the weeds of understanding ecosystems and collaborating across disciplines. Prior to consulting, I was actually just like one of your university professors. So I was a university biology professor for 7 years at a liberal arts college in Wisconsin, Lawrence University. And there I taught classes on biology and ecology, but also like ecological statistics and GIS and all sorts of little mix and matches of classes. So when I transitioned into, so long story short is I got tenure at my old university, and then I realized I didn't want to just do teaching for the rest of my life. I wanted to get applied, you know, and again, going back to that, like turning your words and ideas into action. I think consulting offers that, right? And one of the things that worried me about consulting when I first started looking at it was this potential for greenwashing. Have you guys heard of greenwashing? Is that something that's pretty common? So yeah, greenwashing was a big concern of mine. Like, am I going to go work for a company that just for lack of better phrasing, sells their soul to the devil to to you know, make companies look more sustainable than what they actually are? And then I got to reading about Ramboll and where its core values come from. And, it's understanding that like the founders of Ramboll actually came out of World War II and looking at all that environmental devastation that came out of that Great War and trying to think of better solutions for a better society. And so with that as its center, I thought like, okay, this is a company I could really work for because they're not just BSing you about sustainability, they're actually applying it to societies. Um, and one of the really cool things that, we do at Ramboll is actually turn away clients, and we say no to clients all the time that say, oh, well, you do this greenwashing job for us, and we flat out refuse work from them because that's not what we're about. We're a company that's really about putting our best foot forward with a common goal of improving ecosystems, improving society, finding creative solutions to really leave a smaller footprint on the planet. I think that's a mission I can get behind. So here I am. It's my first year as a consultant, and I am learning a lot.
Yeah, and I think that also reflects on me because I have worked almost 7 years in the process industry, and you really try to work continuously to actually make the process industry efficient and see what you can improve in the process industry, but it's quite slow. But instead, when you go to a consultancy company, and in my case, I'm working in a department that is called energy transition. We only work with projects that are related to energy, and energy, all that scope of energy, and try to decarbonize industry, try to see what new biofuels you can do. And when I say biofuels, it's also all related to e-fuels also. I don't know if you have heard about this, like this crazy idea that you can take all the CO2 of a biogenic boiler, for example, capture it, mix it with the hydrogen that you are also producing with electrolyzers, when electrolyzers that have electricity that is also renewable, that is coming from wind, solar or water, and mix it and produce something that is called methanol that will fuel boats. And the cool thing all about this that you are capturing CO2 that is biogenic. So is when you tell that something is biogenic is that that tree that was burned in afterward, but that tree already captures CO2, and when it's liberated but exploded with the methanol, is actually closing the circle and will be completely net zero. So this kind of projects is just amazing. The companies are actually asking to you how we can do this. Is it possible in our industry? How we can going to go forward with this?
Hey, Maria,
Thank you.
I just noticed there's a couple of questions here in
Yes.
the chat, and this one you can definitely speak to is, are there any certifications you need for the consultant work that you do? What kind of certification would you say we need?
Yeah, I am a chemical engineer with a master in renewable energy. I It's actually fun because I get to work half and half because I want to really work as a project manager. So I have been working lately as a project manager and having my own projects, but I also get to work as a process engineer. So the process engineer part is really where I actually get my chemical engineering and renewable energy masters. But the project manager is actually more hands-on. And I know a lot of people that actually just because they have all this experience background from other companies, that is the only thing that they need for being project managers, and then really get knowledgeable project managers. But for the part of process engineering, for sure, you need all this background that you need of your engineering.
Yeah, and
Mm.
I want to reiterate that there's
Mhm.
positions within our company and other consulting companies that span the full range, right? We have some of my colleagues are just coming in fresh out of undergrad with a bachelor's degree in
Mm.
biology or ecology or engineering, and then they build up their experience through the company that way, right? And so
Exactly.
you're I don't know, going 5, 6 years in the company, you're picking up the tools that kind of on the job training. And sometimes it requires official certification, like I'm a certified ecologist or a wetland delineator. Those are nice little certificates to have, but the real deal is on the job training. The real deal is being open to understanding how the process works and where you can apply your science. Um, and I'll piggyback off of that a little bit to answer this other comment. I'm an environmental engineer, interested in getting a PhD to become a professor. How is the process to match a professor to, I guess, match a professor position? And was it competitive? Um, yes. So let's see. So getting a PhD is a challenge. It's one of those things that you devote years and years to your education, and you go from your master's into a PhD, but you have to really be careful here. You have to ask yourself, why do I want to get this level of training? For me, like Carolina, I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a professor, and I wanted to run my own lab where I could do my own experiments, and do my own field work and have students that I could train along the way. But it turns out that having a PhD actually ended up hurting me a little bit. I I became very quickly overqualified for some of the jobs that I found very interesting. Like I said before, like I love being in the field, right? I love getting my boots muddy and out and playing with nature. And this is what I live for. And the second you have a PhD, all of that starts to become further and further and further away. So, you really have to match your training, your certificates, your education level to the job that you want to have. Don't get me wrong, I love the job that I have now. Even if I spend 8 hours a day in front of a computer screen, I get my nature fix in other ways. But yeah. Let's see. Manuel asks, what type of project have you worked on in wastewater plants in the US? I retired from the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. Do we know of any water projects in the US, Maria?
No, I actually have not any water
Yeah.
spray in the US, but I can tell like one that I'm working right now here in Sweden. Uh, it's really interesting because in here the water treatment plants are really looking to how to use the biogas that they are producing in their, how do you say that in English? Rockkammare. I have the word in Swedish. The digester. It's actually, if you translate it from Swedish to English, it's like the smoking camera. I don't know if you can say it like that, but where you produce the biogas. And you have several ways to go when you have biogas. You can use it, you can burn it and directly just produce district heating that in here in Sweden you use a lot because things are cold, really cold in Sweden. uh, you can maybe have it in a motor, and you can both produce electricity and heat. And that is a good split because your water treatment plant is a lot of electricity, but also heat. But even if you are in a threshold that you're producing quite a lot of biogas, you can actually think of upgrading your biogas and selling it for transportation, for example. So that kind of process of actually telling a company what you could use your biogas is some kind of
Yeah.
projects that are really, really interesting. Like they are actually thinking, well, we can do more with this.
Yeah, yeah. And I like
Mhm.
the circularity of it, right? So the recycling, repurposing materials, thinking of solutions to traditional problems in new ways. And I think that speaks to some of the work that we do in the US with water management. Currently working with a couple of companies. Can't say who they are, but these are companies that are interested in something called nature-based solutions. And so this is where we take advantage of the goods and services that nature provides to solve problems in places like cities. So one of our clients is actually a big city that is looking at using biodiversity and bioswales. I don't know if you guys know what bioswales are, but they're basically where when you have a big rain event, all that water rushes to a man-made wetland essentially. And all the good stuff that wetlands do happens in these ecosystems, right? They take out pollutants, they help sink carbon, they help restore water quality. All that stuff is happening in these bioswales. So that one client that we work with is really interested in understanding how cities can benefit from nature-based processes. That's really the extent that I've worked with water management in cities, but the company, like Maria said, is huge, right? And so I think if we did a little bit of digging around, wastewater would be definitely one of the areas that our company plays in. Any other questions or directions that you
Yes,
want to take?
yeah,
Yeah, let's go
yeah,
ahead.
this is Frank Avila from Chicago. We
Hey,
are
Frank.
using the biosolids too in the city of Chicago for stormwater.
Cool.
We combined sewers here in Cook County, and Cook County handles Chicago and 130 other municipalities here.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
we have 7 wastewater plants, and we are using the biogas also in one of our plants in the Stickney plant here.
That is
Yeah,
amazing.
no, that's a great example, right? So cities are excellent places for environmental engineering. You don't have to go to like remote parts of the Amazon to do ecology and science. You could do it right here in the cities where we live. And big metropolitan areas like Chicago, like New York, like LA, all have are interested in using nature and nature solutions and mimicking ecosystem processes and services to make our cities more sustainable. And I think that's a growing area of interest, not just for our company, but I think globally.
Yes, and we also have 2 reservoirs. One that holds about 10 billion gallons of storm water, and the other one about 17 billion gallons of storm water.
That's very cool. You know, the size and scale of things, right? When you
Yeah.
look at things theoretically, like I did as a professor, it didn't really seem real. It was just numbers on a whiteboard. But then you talk to a field operator like yourself and you realize how big and massive these industrial projects are. And I think that's just really cool.
And our Stickney plant was considered one of the largest plant in the world also.
Mm,
Very cool.
wow. And also, I think it's sometimes also when you think about water treatment, maybe it's really easy to go to the water treatment of a city. But you, for example, I was working before in the paper industry, and there they need to have they for recycling paper. I was working with this process engineer in a recycle mill. So they took recycled paper and converted to new paper for the cardboard, so recycled cardboard, and they use insanely amount of water to do this. And the water treatment plants for all these processes are quite big. So it's really important to say that they also need to treat this plant, and they also need to see if they can also produce other things from this plant. So they are investing quite a lot also for having anaerobic digesters to actually produce biogas and use it in as producing heat for their paper mills, because you also need the steam for producing paper. You need to dry it. So all trying to be completely circular, I think, is the 2 things. Being the part of environmental, that you need to treat your wastewater, but also how you make circulate your process. That is really, really good.
Yeah, Maria, do you have
Mhm.
are you working on any project with PFAS?
No, right now, no. Maybe Israel?
No, not myself, but I
Mhm.
did put a couple of links here on our chat that
Mhm.
give you an idea of the work we do. There's a whole division of Ramboll that just does water, right? And it's water from every perspective, from municipal use to adaptation and climate resiliency. One of the cool things, one of the cool Ramboll projects that I was very, very minimally involved in was actually in Milwaukee, where we established a living shore water to try and mitigate erosion, right? So that's a different perspective of water where we're trying to make sure that as water levels change in the lake, we're able to um, make sure that the landscape, especially where people live, isn't as affected. I also put a quick little link here on some of the environmental work that our company does. So feel free to just peruse through the website and see all the different kinds of projects that we do. And if you're even in, even you're in the early stages of your career, you're an undergraduate student and you're looking for opportunities to do research and get your boots on the ground and get your feet wet and your hands dirty, there are yearly internship positions that Ramboll offices offer. I know throughout the US, I don't know about Europe. I'm sure
Yeah,
they,
also in Europe.
yeah, also in Europe. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Mhm.
But yeah, we bring in people of all different levels to try out consultancy, right? And then see how they like this as a potential career.
Yeah, and I really like that point, Israel. I mean, it's really amazing to take interns that comes into the company and go ahead and show them, not only show them how all the cool projects that we're doing related to, in my case, to biofuels or renewable energy, but also like you actually get a really overview of what a project is, because normally you will get a really strict project from beginning to the end, and you really need to understand what are you going to deliver, uh, what are your scope, what is the needs of the client, but also to really be careful what are you going to give if you actually are delivering what your client is asking for. So I think that are really they are not related to engineering, maybe not something that you get too much in the university, but you really need to see how to handle a project from beginning to the end, and even in the end get your what are the things that you actually learn in the end and actually carry out and share it in the company. And that is really important to do when you finish a project. So that for me has been a really good learning, because normally when you are in the industry, projects tend to be really, really, really long, or maybe don't have a complete scope and you're really open on what you're doing. But that will not happen in a consultancy company.
Yeah. Yeah, we move fast. We move
Yeah.
really fast. People are some sometimes consultants can be expensive, right? And so we want to make sure that we're moving things along at an efficient rate so that we can provide a good service for our client, and these solutions that we provide them, or these ideas that we provide them, can be applied as quickly as possible. So it's a big part of what we do, is moving at this fast pace and handling projects of different scopes. So I do also want to I'm going to drop in my email at on the I don't sorry at the chat here, because attending events like this and panels like this is a really great first step in getting to know people of different careers and backgrounds. But I'd really encourage you guys to just shoot us an email from time to time, check in and say like, hey, can we have a virtual coffee? We do that a lot in my office. Because we work all over the US, we sit down with a cup of coffee and have coffee on camera and, chat like you would in the office. But, we take 15, 20, half an hour to just chat with people and get to know people. So I really encourage you all to reach out and schedule a coffee time with me. We're pretty chill people, I think. We don't want to be scary or unapproachable. We want to talk to you guys.
Yeah, I can also write mine. And I think both, if you, I think the most important thing that maybe the second most important thing. I don't know what is if it's the most important thing, but what Israel say, I think it's really important to network. When we are talking about consultancy, you maybe end up with a new client just for a conversation of a random person that you were saying, actually saying what you're doing, and they get the, wow, I actually need help of this, and so it's really, really important to network, but also from my side to help people, and I really, really like that. And if you're interested about Europe and opportunities, my master is a really, really good master. Now I do a little publicity of that. They are a European fund that fund this master in Europe, and they are just working with the renewable energies. And they also fund startups for renewable energy, so they do both of them. So, I mean, I think it's really cool that they only are targeting this kind of startups, but also masters. So there is a lot of Sorry.
Were you in the FONASO program by chance? The Erasmus Mundus program?
No,
Okay.
this master is called AIT and Energy. And if you look that in internet, I maybe can put also a chat to that. It's really,
It just sounds
yeah. It sounds a little like Erasmus because it's also
Yeah.
this double degree. That is also really, really famous in here in Europe to go to Erasmus and exchange between Europe. That's really, really good.
I had a couple of colleagues when I was living in Copenhagen and in England that were part of the Erasmus program, and it's just, again, it's networking, it's
Aye.
idea sharing, it's growing, your network and people in that respect, I can't speak enough towards networking. I think that's just key to everything you do. When I was a professor and a researcher, I was very, very specialized. So I was going into an area very, very deeply. My area of research was insects and ecosystem services and biodiversity and climate change. I kept bees. I did experiments with bees, all sorts of fun things. But it was very, very highly specialized and highly focused. If you look at the papers I've published, I published maybe 20 papers on ecosystems and how insects play different roles in ecosystems. But now I don't go deep in anything anymore. Now I go wide. Now I go really, really wide, and I dabble here and there. One day I could be working with whales on offshore platforms, and the next day watershed protection in upstate New York. And so now my energy kind of gets spread out wide, and I think that's a really cool thing. And I see, Ludia, you have a question?
Yes. Hi, my name's Ludia. On the topic of like networking and going wide and not deep, I just graduated in May with a civil engineering degree on the environmental track. But most of my undergrad was focused in transportation, which I've learned is not necessarily the space that I want to be in. So then I switched to environmental. That being said, I have interest in sustainability consulting and environmental engineering, which are different but similar roles. So there's some overlap in responsibilities and the types of problems that one person is solving. So I was wondering if you had any advice on how to approach recruiters, like with the convention coming up or in networking sessions, given that I'm not tied to a specific role right now, since I'm like really in an exploratory phase.
Yeah. How would you do it, Maria?
Well, I think, as you say, I think you should be open. And actually, when you approach to somebody that probably maybe have already a position, I think you can be really curious about how is the position, and I think that shows that you are really into what they are saying, but also listening what they are saying, and maybe take some parts of it, like what we're doing right now between me and Israel, like what he says something like, oh, but I had done something like this that was super interesting for me, and this is super related to what I had done in my career, or something like that, to actually take parts of the conversation and go and say like, this could be actually related what I was doing and really interesting. But also ask questions of what do you want? and have that in the back of your mind to actually understand what if that position, if they have a position specific, will be actually a good fit for you.
Mhm. Yeah. Do your research before meeting people. Always have a clean version of your resume available. For me, I didn't have a resume until last year. My resume was always my curriculum vitae, which is like this 30-page long document of everything I've ever done, versus my resume, which is like, how do you compress that into 2 succinct pages? And that's a challenge, right? And so having a clean version of your resume, believe it or not, LinkedIn is a huge thing in
Yeah.
consulting, in the consulting world. Use it wisely. Contact people on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Reach out to folks, and say like, hey, can we have that virtual coffee? Or if you're going to a conference, the big conference that I normally go to is the Ecological Society of America. It's like, oh, can we meet up for a beer afterwards and chat? Those are really meaningful experiences. That's how I can't speak enough for FaceTime. Get your face in front of people and let them know what you're interested in and how you can contribute to their organization's goals. And I think that goes a really long way. But
I like to make a comment. You ever hear of WebTech conference?
I don't know it. No.
Okay,
No.
WebTech is one of the largest conference in the water and wastewater industry.
Mm.
They have it. They just finished it in New Orleans, and the next year is going to be in Chicago. You have
Yeah.
about 30,000 people attending, and you have a lot of companies from Europe and the U.S., Mexico, and South America attending the conference. So the young lady that just mentioned that question, I would look on the website of WEFTech. That's WEF Tech, TECH, WEFTech, or just WEF, WEF. It's a big organization that deals in water and wastewater.
And just for any discipline, I mean, that's water and wastewater specific, but if you are into environmental engineering, there's a conference for that. If you're into restoration ecology, there's a conference for that. There's just conferences of groups of professionals all over the place. Identify the ones that fit your interests and find a way to get there. A lot of them have great scholarship opportunities, for example, to bring undergraduates or recent
Yeah.
graduates to their conferences and say like, we'll cover your conference registration fee or something like that. And you get to attend. And then I think the key is just don't be shy. It's hard. I'm actually not specifically an extrovert. I'm pretty
Yeah.
introverted in general. So it's hard. It's a little scary to go out there and meet people and meet potential employers, but you just got to suck it up. You got to do it.
Yeah, and I was actually in a conference in the north of Sweden last week, and I was alone there, and I was trying to really make connections, and sometimes it really feels difficult to make a connection when you're totally alone and try to just talk with a complete stranger. But everyone is in the same mood, so it's actually quite easy to just connect to anything, to even like, what are you taking? Are you taking a coffee with milk? Can I get a little milk or something like that? The super random things you can get, but also the most easy thing is that if they actually talk in one part of the conference, it's super easy to approach. Like, your talk was amazing. I really want to know more about you, about your company. What do you do? That is the most easy way to actually start a conversation with somebody. And if they didn't talk and you have the opportunity to actually see, normally they have their names and what company they are, you can also connect like, hey, and be open. Actually have looked your company in internet. I'm really interested. What do you can talk about it? What do you do there? And be interested in what they are also doing in their company. And yeah, I think
Yeah.
just make connections.
Make connections and know the people that you're connecting with, right? And take advantage of those one-on-one opportunities and ways to get yourself to these situations. I put a link here for the society that I'm most familiar with, which is the Ecological Society of America. But what rings a bell is that they've got programs for for Latinos like us, for example, where they want to enhance the participation and involvement of Latinos in the ecological sciences or the environmental sciences. So they will pay you to go to this conference, right? And there's scholarships that you can apply for. I think our next one is in Baltimore. And it's just a good, Ramboll has a presence there. So a bunch of my colleagues and I will hold a booth there and kind of introduce the company to the world. So those are the types of places where you can meet potential employers and potential opportunities. I know we're getting down to time here. I've got another 5 minutes. I want to make sure that everybody's questions are answered, or you can ask some fun questions too, if you'd like. Anna, how we doing?
We're doing good. Please give us feedback. I have posted the link for the evaluation. Please let us know how we did so I can provide feedback to Ramboll.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully we can continue to engage with everybody and share experiences or career advice. We're here to do that.
Bianca
Happy to
has
do
a
that.
very interesting question for both of you.
Oh, sure.
Favorite place you lived in?
I can take that one.
Okay.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it has been the most interesting.
Right.
I work in a paper company in the north of Sweden. I'm talking about the Arctic Circle. So I have been biking in minus 40 degrees Celsius. I don't know how much that is in Fahrenheit. And your eyelashes stick together because they get ice. So you
That's
have to
just
do like this
wrong.
to open.
That's not okay.
But it's good because you can see northern lights. I have seen all the type, shapes, colors of northern lights. Yes.
No, it is beautiful up there for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go the exact opposite of that porque soy Latino y no me gusta el frío. So I'm gonna go with something tropical like the Northern Territory of Australia, where every day was shorts and a t-shirt kind of day, and we still biked, and instead of freezing, we just sweated all over the place. But I love the ecosystem up there. I love nature up there. Big 25-foot crocodiles at every turn and kangaroos and all the fun stuff. So it was exciting for me to live there for a couple of years.
The spiders. And the
Big
scorpions.
spiders the size of your face. It's
And
great.
no, thank you.
Love it.
So we have 3 minutes left, 4 minutes left, please. Unmute yourselves or ask your questions in the chat. But I definitely ask, practice for convention, unmute yourself, make connections in this space in the 4 minutes we have left.
Show your faces. Don't be afraid. I think the most meaningful conversations, like even on a day-to-day basis, I work with colleagues that don't turn on their cameras at all. But when you see somebody's face and you can read their body language, and it's especially important with a client that they see your reaction and you see their reaction. There's so much that is important about just that face time.
We have 3 minutes. Now's your time. Manuel, go ahead.
I just put on the website for WebTech.
Thank you.
And I will put the website for Ramboll careers
And it's-
also, if somebody's interested to see the opportunities that we have.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where you'll find the
I had
intern
a
opportunities.
gal that used to work. Yeah, Maria, I
Uh-huh.
I had a gal that used to work for me that lives in Sweden right now, and
Yes.
and she just got her master's degree, and she's looking for a place to work. So I'll give her your company's website there.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
And
Yeah.
my family came from Juarez, also in El Paso, and then
There you go.
up to Chicago.
There
So-
you go. Yeah.
Nice.
I was just in El Paso last week doing some field work. It was nice to get up on the mountains and see. I miss my desert so much. Yeah.
Awesome. So we have 2 minutes left. Unmute yourself. Ask your last question, please. Try, practice.
You know, one of the
No,
things.
do you think you two might start your own companies? You know, you're working for a consultant company. Do you think
Yeah.
you'll quit and Maria and start your company? Huh?
Who
Tomorrow?
knows?
Oh, you might quit.
I have had my ideas for startups and even tried to do that when I was in the master. So who knows? I maybe come back there. I really like the whole idea of doing a business plan. So who
Yeah,
knows?
Maria has the skill set that actually can sustain a startup. For
How
me, it's
about
all
you?
no,
How
and
about you?
for
Huh?
me, it's just butterflies and bunnies. So there's not much of a startup incentive there. Counting butterflies and bunnies that are measuring trees in the
Yeah,
forest
I
doesn't
enjoyed your
offer a
talk.
lot. Thank you.
Okay, well, we are 1 minute at the top of the hour. I want to take this time to first and foremost thank Ramboll so very much for this engaging conversation. For all of you attendees, I hope you have at least a couple of ideas of how to approach our convention if you're coming. I hope to see you all there. And if you see me walking on the corridor, stop me and say, hey, I participated on this webinar. It was great. But please, before you leave, I left the link. Tell us how we did, so I can give feedback to Ramboll. And in the meantime, don't freeze, Maria, in Sweden, and not you either, Israel in Upper New York. Okay, 37. Thank you again, Ramboll, from the
Thank
bottom.
you.
So much, and thank you, everybody, for being
Thank you
here.
for having us. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.